Hello friends, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the daily series here on this channel, Football Therapy, where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my opinion on it, more importantly asking for yours. Super long-term deals for Broja, Reece James, Mason Mount, Fofana. What does it mean? Head of scouting sacked at Chelsea. We're going to get a director of football very soon. Things are changing. We're going to reflect on the Chelsea revolution after record summer spending by the new ownership. But before we do, take a moment and absorb this. A big thank you to my sponsor Surfshark for sponsoring this video. My partner Surfshark is one of the greatest VPNs around, virtual private network. If you're yet to get one, this is a fantastic opportunity to finally catch up with the modern age. A VPN is a simple and light application that you can use on multiple devices when you go with Surfshark that offers additional internet security by bouncing your IP address all around the world that actually keeps you safe. And indeed, you want to stay safe in a world where there's loads of identity fraud and scams knocking about. So Surfshark immediately offers you that modern day security, which is very, very important. I can hear you asking me, why else would you want to move your internet IP location around the world? Well, they can open up new media and entertainment. Sometimes certain content is blocked in your country and you're unable to view it. With Surfshark, you can simply switch over to the applicable country and unlock said content. No more limitations for you, my dear sweet friend. And because I always use this feature, I always like to plug it. Netflix is amazing, we all watch it, but imagine more content. That's right, using the Surfshark plugin, you can switch your location to another country and open up that Netflix library. I do it with the UK, moving over to the USA, and suddenly a whole new library is open to me from the American version. Takes a second and it's super simple. Because you're my dear sweet subscriber, I can offer you such an incredible deal to get this VPN that you finally should get. 83% off with the first 3 months free, which of course is an incredible deal when you use my code FOOTBALL on Surfshark. Simply click the link down in the description to go attain this wonderful, wonderful deal and finally do yourself the favor. Catch up and get that VPN. Peace. Ooh la 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 la. Welcome back to the studio. Go check out Surfshark. Click link, top of the description, etc. Boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, things are happening at Chelsea. Not just because we spent a record amount of money in the summer, which we have. Chelsea are looking to change how they work. Not just with the scouting and sporting director, but indeed with the contracts as well. With the Armando Broja new long-term, the 6+1 year contracts that Chelsea are doing, the Reece James, who's on like 50k a week, is about to become one of Chelsea's highest earners. By the way, deserved. We're going to reflect on all of this and talk about all of it, so hopefully you're strapped in. Housework, ladies and gentlemen, please do drop like, subscribe if you're new, only if you want to, should you choose to do so. Hit that. Sweet, sweet bell. Man, I'm going to jump into an article from The Athletic from David Orney. What's going on? Scott McLachlan, head scout of Chelsea, much maligned for a long, long time, has left the club. Has he been canned? Or has he just walked away? We're going to read this article from David Ornstein, which I believe was an exclusive yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yes. Chelsea head of international scouts, Scott McLachlan, has left Stamford Bridge. The move has said had been a long-held ambition and decision was on his terms. Was it? He is understood to be taking up an executive level role elsewhere in football. McLachlan is thought to be departing Chelsea with the club's best wishes. He remains highly respected by the previous and current ownership. His final day at Chelsea was on Friday. He is now going on 3 months gardening leave. He had been in this role since the beginning of the 2012 campaign and was an integral part of the recruitment operation across extremely successful, if often tumultuous, period in Chelsea's history. Chelsea themselves are hoping to appoint a sporting director before the January transfer window. McLachlan previously worked at Fulham as a technical scout. Before that, he went to did some stuff at Southampton. Right, interesting. many Chelsea fans aren't interested or aren't happy with Scott McLachlan. They think that I don't know if he's just an easy target, but for a long time Chelsea scouting hasn't been immense. And again, when the new ownership came into Chelsea, we spoke about, look, we got to follow a better model. Look at the Liverpool model, also American owners. When they find a player that works for them, they buy them, and it works, and it fits the system, it fits the ethos, and it's, it works. And the fact that we're looking at getting a sporting director before the January transfer window tells you something. We're looking to do January transfer business as well, which is pretty darn incredible considering we've just broken the record in the summer. We got loads of players. We've even ripped up contracts like Ross Barkley, Marcus Alonso, which, this is what Todd Boehly and his ownership model has done before when they bought the Dodgers. They were like, okay, we'll get rid of you. We're just going to take some L's early doors. We've spoken about it here on the channel before. And yeah, it's mad. We're going to talk about the contracts in just a moment. But many people, if you went on the social media and reacted to this news being reported, many people were kind of rejoicing in this. And look, I don't know enough about it behind the scenes, so I don't want to disrespect the guy, but it does seem to be stirring up a lot of excitement. And for all the people like Gary Neville, who I do like at times, what's his name, Simon Jordan of the of TalkSport, criticising Todd Boehly for going around playing sporting director. No, he went around, threw his weight around in his sort of business acumen way, by all accounts a tough negotiator, backs the manager at his first opportunity, and yes, Chelsea's priority is to get a sporting director. So everything done and implemented so far by the new ownership has been close to exemplary. We have to be happy with that. New sporting director coming in, more transfers in January, you would not be surprised. Paul went out for Scott McLachlan though. New scouts, you can imagine we'd hire a new head of scouting very soon. Let's move on. So, Fabrizio Romano tweeting this today, Reece James' new deal will be valid until 2028, but there'll be an option for a further season. Negotiations progressing into the final stage. He's never been close to joining Real Madrid, despite the rumours, which you gotta love because the Real Madrid fans have been tweaking for superstar Reece James, best right back, best right wing back in the world. Certainly will be. Built different, Reece James. And a 6+1. This is important. This is the exact same thing we've given to, I believe, Wesley Fofana as well. Just spat on my monitor screen. And by all accounts, I think it's the same thing we've given Broja, a 6+1 as well. And it will be the same thing we've given Mason Mount. Mason Mount's had a slow start to the season, but he still remains our player of the season for consecutive last 2 years. The kind of player that the manager loves, and the kind of player that you'd look to tie down to a long-term deal. It's in a protection of investment. And I'm going to talk about what Ben Jacobs does. He's going to explain this in just a moment, the journalist who works for CBS. I just quickly want to talk about this other tweet from Fabrizio Romano referencing the young Russian superstar Arsene Zakarian. He was interviewed. He said, there was an offer from Chelsea. Of course, we reflected on the reports here on the channel. But it was impossible to complete a transfer. Of course I accepted. How can I reject that? I hope everything will be done soon. Maybe in January, he added. So the youngsters, very talented young midfielder being interviewed here saying, yes, of course I accepted. It's Chelsea. I want to go to Chelsea. Hopefully it'll be done soon. Of course, there's other stories that broke that Chelsea made a late bid for the Saints midfielder. What's his name? I've forgotten his name already. I'll quickly look it up now. And that was the deadline. I think it was the deadline day. The deadline day mystery midfielder bid. Yeah, Chelsea bid for Romeo Lavia. That's it. Who obviously signed to Southampton. It was immediately rejected by Southampton. It was a £50 million bid. A £50 million bid, but they consider him one of the best talents. They paid hardly anything for him. There is a buyback clause for Man City, which apparently is 40 million, but Chelsea came in with a 50 million bid on deadline day. We were going absolutely nuts to try and get a midfielder on deadline day. Now, I know Dennis Zakaria, no matter which way you look at it, it's a bit of a panic buy. I'm not saying he's going to flop. I'm not saying he's going to be a Sal Niguez. He could be more of a Mateo Kovacic. And fortunately, Thomas Tuchel does know Dennis Zakaria from the time in the Bundesliga when he was playing for Borussia Mönchengladbach. And Tuchel likes him then. Obviously, it hasn't gone great for him at Juve, but Tuchel is hoping that he can implement that kind of stuff. If he's good, we might buy him. I don't think we probably will. I think we'll probably go back for other targets. And, this news about the technical sporting director coming in January, maybe we do go back in for Alvarez. Maybe we do buy that, that youngster Arsene again. And maybe we just keep buying like crazy. Lord knows how we're dodging this FFP stuff, but Todd Boehly himself has spoken openly and quite often about financial fair play, so he won't be breaking any rules. He will double and triple check he's able to throw his weight around, which, by the way, he's absolutely doing big time. Let's talk about these contracts. So, Ben Jacobs, quite connected to Chelsea by all accounts, the CBS journalist, giving us some insight on these new long-term contracts. Tweeting this, Chelsea's new owners made agreeing new long-term contracts with Reece James, brackets, and Mason Mount, a priority from day one. Clearly, obviously, they've seen these kids win Chelsea the Champions League, Reece looking like the best player in the world, Mount being really important. James is very close to signing a 6th year with an option of a 7th year deal. Securing James was spoken about even before the sale was complete by the new ownership, I suppose. As with Broja's extension, there's a much broader strategy at play. Now, this is really interesting because Broja was kind of bullish about what's going to happen with him. He's a really unique striker. He probably knows that he's got like a bit of an edge to be utilised at Chelsea. And prior to the season starting, apparently he was a bit more bullish in negotiations. So there's a broader strategy at play with his contract, apparently. Chelsea want to give younger players multi-year contracts with incentive-driven clauses that reward their progression and success. So your Fofanas, your Reece James, your Mason Mounts, and your Armando Brojas here. The belief is that this adds stability and provides pathways. It's very common in American sport. Well, there you go, American owners. It also protects the sell-on value, long-term deals, of course, which is important with certain prospects yet to break into the first team who could still be sold on a profit even if they don't break through. Again, cynical but true of the youngsters. James will become one of the highest earners at the club, having actually been on a comparatively modest terms compared to the others in the squad. Yeah, James earns even less than Mount. I think James is on like 40 or 50k a week. He's a Champions League winner. He's England international. He starts for England. His new wages will have to reflect that. And he will have representatives that will sit down and be like, we know exactly what Reece James is. So do you. Pay him. Interesting. With Broja, I really like this incentive structure because it will be like, look, if you make appearances, like you're doing well, you get paid more. If you score goals, you get paid more. And there might be even more performance-based metrics that, that make him, a certain amount of appearances in a competition that Chelsea win, or do you know what I mean, or do well in. There'll probably be loads of structures and bonuses like that. I do feel good about Broja. I think a lot of people do, especially watching him, recent cameos. I know Havertz scored and looked good, but I do think there is something that there in Armando Broja. It's just disheartening as a Chelsea fan recently because we don't feel like we bring out the specialness in forwards that is there. And that's not just Tuchel. That feels like it's a long-term thing for years at Chelsea. Kind of ever since Conte. I know he scored a few goals under Maurizio Sarri. But it was kind of Havertz and chill, wasn't it? Hazard and vibes, wasn't it? So it's a long-term problem, and we'll have to see how to sort this out. What do you think, though? How are you feeling about these stories? I'm feeling pretty good. Sporting director McLachlan sacked. Long-term deals for the youngsters. Comment your thoughts down below. Please do drop like on video. Subscribe if you want to. Hit the sweet bell. And do go check out Surfshark with that link down in the description, friends. I can't wait to see you again very, very soon. Take care, fellas. Peace.